So May is always a really busy month in the allotment tour garden. There's lots of planting to do, but this year for me particularly it's been exceptionally busy because of the construction of the new poly shed, which you can see behind me. Been spending quite a bit of time getting that sorted and building some shelving, but I have been planting as well, and in this video I'm going to take you for a tour of the allotments, show you what I've been planting. I'll take you inside the poly shed, show you how I'm progressing with that. So if you like the video, don't forget to give it the thumbs up, and if you want to subscribe to the channel for future videos on how to sow and grow fruit and veg and a few recipe ideas, then don't forget to subscribe. So let's go and take a look around the allotment. So as I'm filming this now, it's the beginning to the middle of May, around about the 11th, and in the video I did for my last tour, which was the April allotment tour, you'll notice that the Polyhouse was still under construction. And to a certain extent it still is really, there's still a little bits and pieces to do, but the main structure's up and I've done quite a bit of work in there, which I'm going to show you a little bit later. But the building of the Polyhouse has resulted in quite a lot of changes to the allotments and my planning for where I'm going to put things. This is all new in terms of the perimeter path. I put this metal support up here, and this is where my blackberries have been located and gooseberries. And my plan is that once those broad beans that you can see just growing behind are grown and I've harvested them, this will be a soft fruit area. I've also done a bit of work to the perimeter of the Polyhouse. So these are slab on edge, which are half buried into the ground to give a bit of support for the Polyhouse itself and to also prevent any potential wind uplift because the Polyhouse is slightly higher than the ground on this side. Next we come to the raspberries. They're looking good, a lot more growth on them now compared to April. You can see that they are growing really nicely. It should give me another good harvest. Lots of these growing. These are called suckers, which are the new plants which side shoot. And what I'm going to do with these, now I've got the Polyhouse, I'm going to dig them up. As you can see here, here and here. These are all new plants, and what I'm going to do is put them in pots and probably give them away. You can see that the raspberries are starting to get some buds on them as well, which will form the flowers, which will be the eventual raspberries. Rhubarb has been absolutely brilliant. I've already had two really good picks off this, and you can see there's going to be a lot more. I don't know if you've tried a rhubarb, ginger and orange crumble, but that's a recipe that I've recently learned about and tried it, and it's absolutely amazing. So I've got lots of opportunity to do different things with the rhubarb. We've had a lot of rain over the last week or so, so these are not need watering, but when we had a very dry April I was watering right into the roots, not onto the leaves, and that obviously what you can see now is a really healthy load of rhubarb. Here you can see my strawberries. This is a big change since last allotment tour. These plants that are closest to me here, these are the new plants that I took off the runners from last year's plants. So these will give me some strawberries this year. You can see they're flowering already. Flowers mean strawberries once they're pollinated. But these really will give me most of the strawberries for next year. The ones just on the far side a little bit bigger, they're 3 years old. They're in there last year. They will be taken up at the end of this growing year and replaced with new plants from the runners from this year's plants. It took me about 2 days in total to clear all around the strawberry plants of weeds and dig the runners up, and you'll see in a minute how many strawberry plants I got. And it does make sense to do this. You could potentially leave or you might think to yourself, well, I'll just leave the runners and the strawberries and let them, because they're just new strawberry plants. But the problem is that they will all compete for the same nutrients in the ground, and therefore you might get less of a harvest or smaller strawberries unless you do what I'm doing here, which is give every plant its own space. These strawberries over here were the new plants from last year. Now this is where I'm going to get most of my strawberries this year. They look really good, really healthy, lots of flowers on them. I'm really pleased with them, and so I'm thinking I'm going to be getting a lot of strawberries this year from those plants. They will even get bigger. All of these will get bigger. Could do with a bit of sunshine now, which is weird saying that, because in the April tour we had so much dry weather and sunshine. I was asking for rain. This area here was the area that was trodden on a lot when we was building the Polyhouse. So as you can see, it's a bit weedy at the moment, but I'm going to dig that. But you'll see from when I show you in the Polyhouse, which I'll do last. So it's well worth staying tuned to the end of the video to have a look at that, because there's loads in there, and there's plants in there that I'll be able to put out once this ground is dug. All of the strawberries as well, I don't know if you can see in the video, but they're all netted over. I put some netting on them. It's black netting, but it's mainly to protect them from the birds. Clearly you need netting that's large enough to allow the bees to get in to pollinate the flowers, but not to allow the birds in. So there you can see that's all netted over. So again, another good crop of strawberries expected this year. Here you can see my 2 bays of potatoes here and there, and I've just noticed they've just started to appear. These were planted about 3 weeks ago. There's a video showing you how to plant potatoes actually, which I did when I planted these. So what I'll do is probably give them a week or two till they get a little bit larger, and then I'll trench them. And there's nothing in these beds. These are just dug and ready to receive the things that I'm going to show you in the polyhouse in a minute. Another bed here. These weeds are only surface weeds, so it'll take me about an hour to dig this bed, I would imagine. And then we'll put some stuff from the polyhouse once it's grown. Now here we have a bed of onions. Now these are onion sets. I was going to grow onion seeds this year, all intended to do that, but because of the polyhouse build, it did put me behind with a lot of things, so I went from the usual sets. But I will be growing onions from seed as soon as I can. Some other onion sets which went in a little bit earlier. These went in November. Need a bit of weed in there, but so they're looking pretty good. And there behind them, those tall plants, are my garlic, and they're looking great as well. So we'll see how they get on, and of course when I harvest them, I will do a video to show you what happened and what they look like. And this is just where I've been. My compost bin is here and here, and this is where I've been doing a lot of the build for the poly shed. This is going to be my new sandpit for my grandsons when they're a bit bigger. So I've got a bit of children's play sand, but I've got to dig that out and fill that with more play sand. And here we have a few spring onions that were planted last year. They're looking good as well. And in here, temporarily I would imagine, I've located my herbs, because these were in front of the old Polytunnel as it was. Rosemary, lemon balm, chives and sage. I haven't quite decided whether I want to keep them here yet or whether I'm going to relocate them, so I'll let you know. So let's go and have a look inside the new polyhouse. Now I've had a lot of work been doing on this over the last few weeks. Built the main structure. There's a video on the channel showing you how I built it, but now I'm at a stage where I'm actually digging and getting ready for planting. You can see there's 2 blueberry bushes over on the far side here and here. I bought a second one because I read that if you have 2 blueberry bushes, they help pollinate each other. I don't know how that works exactly, but that's what I read. So I thought I'd get another one, and that's what I've done there, which is a little bit smaller. Of course this door will be left open so that it'll allow insects to get into to pollinate. Over the last few days I've been building this shelving, literally still working on it today. And what I've done is I've made the shelving so that it'll lift out so that I can plant underneath, and I've dug that ready. So when all these plants here are planted out or planted in, this space underneath will be used for planting. So let me just show you what's in here. Quite a lot of things growing. Strawberries, you can see over here. I've actually given away 30 trays of 6 strawberries. That's how many new plants I've had, and I've still got half a dozen left there. They're looking great, so obviously they're spares. Then I've got 3 trays of beetroot, which you can see there, and a tray of spinach. And for the first time, which I'm really happy about this year, I've grown celery, and they're looking good. And they really come along in this poly shed as well. I have had them on the floor before I built the shelving, and it's made such a difference being in this environment. So they're looking really good. And I've got some spring onions here. This large gutter here is full of Mange 2. Something else I read about, so I'll give that a try. There's holes in the bottom of that so it will drain. They've just started to germinate as well, so I've only put them in I'd say about 3 or 4 days ago actually. Very quick germination that is. Then I've got loads of tomatoes here. So behind the tomatoes first we've got courgettes and cucumbers. and then all these tomatoes. These are all a variety called Moneymaker, and because I started these in my potting shed at home, you never know with tomatoes how many you're going to get, so I'll put more in that you need on the basis that they won't all germinate. But this year they've been mega successful. Now I have got more room in the polyhouse here to plant more tomatoes. I can take some of this shelving off, so I'll plant as many as I can, or many as I want, or many as I need, and then I'll give the rest away. I've got 4 peppers here. The 2 varieties, one called Butjalokia, which is a really spicy pepper. The other is called Fuego F1, which is another pepper variety that I've grown. A bit slow peppers, but they always are. They'll come back. I put them in larger pots, I think, and when we get the sun in this environment, they'll be great. Behind them, and they're ready to plant out now, we've got Cabbage, which is a variety called Cabbage, and Brussels sprouts, which you know, again, also ready to grow out. Then I've got 2 trays of lettuce here and here, and these today I'm going to plant. Actually, I'm going to plant them in here. I'm going to put them in this bed over here, which I've got ready, and I may put some more over in the corner here because I've got the space now in the polyhouse. So that's pretty much what's been going on since the last 2. You can see loads of changes, lots of things still to do, but progress definitely being made. So I'm really looking forward to the extra capacity to grow that this polyhouse will give me, and then obviously that will be translated when it's all planted outside. So as you can see, lots has been happening in the period between April with my last allotment tour and this one, and still plenty to do, as there always is. So that's the end of the video. If you had success, or maybe you're a bit disappointed in things that have been growing this year, then just pop them in the comments below. It'd be interesting to see how you're getting on, as well as me showing you. So if you do like the video, don't forget to give it the thumbs up, and if you want to subscribe to the channel for future videos on how to sow and grow fruit and veg and some recipe ideas, then please press the subscribe button. So I'll see you all on the next video.